Hey mamas, I'm Brooke Miller, registered dietitian, certified lactation counselor, and a mama who has helped hundreds of moms feel like themselves again after baby, boost their energy, mood, metabolism, and even milk supply. Inside of the Postpartum Shift podcast, you'll learn how to take care of your health so that you can show up best for the ones you care about most. Each week, we'll tackle topics like nutrition, exercise, breastfeeding, mental health, and so much more. Plus, you'll get access to guest experts who will share ways to make your pregnancy and postpartum experience easier. Whether you're approaching the postpartum period or you're right in the thick of it, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's topic. So as a postpartum dietitian and certified lactation counselor, one of the top questions I get asked is about low milk supply. So there's a lot of moms out there who are worried about making enough milk for their baby. They don't know how to tell if their baby is getting enough, and they don't really know what to do or what solution to turn to when it comes to low milk supply. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that your body and your baby, actually has low milk supply, because there is a percentage of moms out there who I talk to and they come to me and they tell me like, I'm worried that my baby or that my milk supply is low. And then they're telling me how much they're pumping in a day. They're telling me that their baby's gaining weight well, that they have plenty of wet and dirty diapers. And I'm like, hey, actually, you're making enough milk for your baby because they're gaining weight. They have enough wet and dirty diapers. The volume that they're pumping and producing, is very average for their baby's age. And so we want to make sure first and foremost that we're not, jumping to fix an issue that's not there. However, if your baby is not gaining weight appropriately, if they are losing weight, if they are not having enough wet and dirty diapers, this is definitely a concern. And we want to look into this. We want to make sure that we are addressing the root cause issue and treating it so that we can get our milk supply up. Or if you want to supplement with formula and do a mix of both, that is totally fine too. And you can absolutely do that. We want to make sure then we're supplementing with the right amount of formula, not too little, not too much, right? And so we really want to find that balance. And it's totally up to what the mom wants and, what she's ready for. But most moms who are coming to me are saying like, I want to continue breastfeeding and this is really important to me and I want to get there. And so if that is you, if you are breastfeeding or you are planning to breastfeed and you want to make sure that you are making enough milk for your baby, then this episode is going to be for you. So when it comes to low milk supply, one of the biggest myths and misconceptions is that, you can just take a supplement and that, that there's one right and only fix for every mom out there. And the truth is we all have different root cause issues. So some moms come to me and they have low milk supply and they're an exclusive pumper. And it's because their flange size has changed and they haven't changed it, or they've been using the wrong flange size on their pump the entire time. And most moms are using the wrong flange size. So this is a very, very common issue. If you're using the wrong flange size, you're not going to get the right output. Something else, especially moms who are pumping frequently, whether they're exclusively pumping or they're just pumping when they're at work, is they're not changing their pump parts regularly. And so the more often that you pump, the more often you have to change your pump parts. So this is really, really important, especially even using the right pump. So some moms are exclusive pumpers and they're not using a hospital grade pump like the Spectra, or even you can rent the very specific Medela type of pump from your hospital. Most of the Medela pumps are not hospital grade, but there is one that is hospital grade that you can rent at your hospital. And Spectra is all hospital grade, which is why I love Spectra. But some moms are using a pump that is just not designed for an exclusive pumper. There's a lot of great pumps out there, especially if you're just pumping once a day or just pumping, kind of as needed, then the pump doesn't matter as much. But for moms who are pumping every single day or exclusively, your pump and pump parts and all of that, it is so crucial. So that is one thing that we have to look into. And again, if you're using the wrong flange size and then you're trying to treat the problem by just drinking water, that's not going to solve your issue. You got to use the right flange size. You have to make sure you're changing out the pump parts, frequently enough. Something else that I see a lot of moms do is, if they are going on a really, really restrictive diet, if they are, trying to lose the baby weight and they are cutting their calories way down, it is going to impact milk supply. So research has shown that going on really restrictive diets, eating especially below like 1,800 calories a day, it will impact milk supply. So it's really important that you know what your calorie needs are and that you are eating enough to support your milk supply, because just cutting down calories, like that is not good for your postpartum physical or mental health, but it's also not good for your metabolism. It's not good for your hormones, and it's not good for your milk supply. So that is why, especially if you are breastfeeding, especially if you're in the first year postpartum, that's why you can't just eat less and move more and just keep eating less and get down to 1,000 calories and hope that, all of your problems will be solved, because you're just setting yourself up, your hormones and your metabolism up for a mess, truthfully. Something else that I see a lot of moms do is they just try to, drink more water. Like they hear this myth that, if you just drink more water, like a gallon a day, it's just going to solve the issue. And what ends up happening, of course you want to be hydrated enough. Like if you are really, really dehydrated, it can impact milk supply. However, if you just like drink more milk and you are overhydrating, it can actually decrease your milk supply, because it starts to pull your electrolytes off balance and it starts to pull water away from your breast to put it out into your urine. And so it's actually not great to just chug water and drink past thirst. So that is also not a great solution. If you've been wanting to reach your healthiest weight and feel like yourself again postpartum without having to sacrifice your favorite foods or your milk supply, I've got a free workshop just for you. Inside of this free workshop, you'll discover how to boost energy, mood, metabolism, and even protect your milk supply. You'll learn common mistakes that moms make that actually cause exhaustion, mood swings, low milk supply, and weight loss resistance to become worse, things that moms don't even realize. And you'll learn the proven 3-step method to heal your hormones and metabolism after baby, so you can go from surviving to thriving postpartum. Plus, as a free gift, you'll get my postpartum snack guide when you come hang out with us. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes to save your seat today. Spots are limited. See you there. There are a lot of supplements on the market that are geared towards breastfeeding moms. And the truth is, some of these are not safe for breastfeeding moms. Some of them have been shown to decrease milk supply in some moms. So when it comes to just jumping on a supplement of like, I'm just going to buy a supplement that I found on Amazon, I am not a fan of that for a variety of reasons. Because one, we're not addressing that root cause issue. We're not fixing the problem. So if your baby is not transferring milk well, if they have a poor latch, and this can be from a ton of different reasons why a baby has a poor latch. Maybe they have a tongue tie or lip tie that is severe and hasn't been addressed. Maybe it's the positioning of the baby. Maybe they are a preemie baby and they're having trouble latching and having enough strength. There's a lot of different reasons why a baby can struggle to latch, but if they have a poor latch, that means that they're not going to transfer milk well. If they're not transferring milk well and they're not emptying your breasts, then your milk supply is going to go down. And so we have to fix the latch. We have to fix the problem, right, at the root cause. And this is why I am just not a huge fan of taking supplements. Now, are there foods that I recommend that a lot of breastfeeding moms increase in their diet? Yes, there are a lot of foods and different herbs and different things that I do recommend that breastfeeding moms include in their diet, but there isn't this one magic food of like every single breastfeeding mom, if they just eat more garlic, they're all of a sudden going to improve their milk supply. Like there isn't this one magic food out there, but there are a ton of foods that can help support your milk supply. And, of course, making sure that you're eating enough calories and making sure that your blood sugar is balanced and making sure that you're increasing vitamins and minerals, because certain vitamin and mineral deficiencies, if you're deficient in them, it can decrease your milk supply. So overall, nutrition is a really, really important thing. It's very supportive when it comes to milk supply. But again, we need to address that root cause issue. So I want you to think of like showing up to your doctor's office with a sore throat. And let's say that you've had strep throat in the past and it's probably strep throat. You show up to your doctor and you're like, hey, I have a sore throat. And let's say that they don't look in your throat, they don't do the swab, they don't test for the bacteria, and they just say, oh, okay, here's a cast for your arm. and then they send you on your way. You would be like, what the heck? Why did you give me a cast for my arm? I have a sore throat. I have strep throat. I need antibiotics. I need you to do the test, right? You would be frustrated with your doctor because they didn't, listen to you, but they also didn't give you a solution that is going to fix your sore throat. And so just putting a cast or a Band-Aid on the situation, it's first and foremost not going to solve your issue. But not only that is, if you just keep going and you don't get the antibiotics you need, the infection is going to likely get worse. The symptoms are going to get worse over time. And that's the thing with low milk supply is a lot of moms, they don't know what their root cause is. And so they're not treating it appropriately. They talk to a mom friend, they, hop in their local Facebook group and they're like, hey, I struggle with low milk supply. What should I do? And then all these moms are very well-meaning, right? Like very well-meaning moms will say, oh, like this worked for me. Do this, drink this, take this supplement, do this type of thing. And if it's not addressing the root cause for you, then it's not going to solve the issue, right? Another common root cause issue that I see a lot of moms make is they're just not on a consistent pumping schedule if they're pumpers, or they're, not tuning in and understanding like their baby's cues. And so they're missing feeding cues from their baby, because some of the time, like our baby's feeding cues they're not like screaming and crying, only when they're hungry. There's a lot of cues that we need to be paying attention to throughout the day. And so if we are not feeding our babies frequently enough, of course, that's another common sign in root cause. But this is why it's so crucial that you understand all the different root cause reasons. This is why it's so important if you're breastfeeding, you understand how to measure your flange size, and you understand how often to change your pump parts, and you understand what a good latch looks like and feels like. And based on your baby's age, how often they should be eating and how often you should be pumping. And this is why it's so important that breastfeeding moms should know what types of foods that they should be increasing in their diet. So there's a lot to know as a breastfeeding mom, right? And there's a lot to know if you are that mom who really wants to reach your breastfeeding goals, which all of us have different goals. For some of us, it might be 6 months. For some, it might be a year. For some, it might be 2 years. For some, it might be beyond 2 years. And so whatever your goal looks like for you, it's really important that you have a good understanding of all of these things so that you can reach your goal. And so all of this is covered in way more detail inside of Breastfeeding Blueprint. And so this is a bonus that I give moms for free when they join us inside the postpartum shift program. So if this is you, if this is something that you're struggling with and you want, one-on-one support to get your questions answered from me, if you want to get help inside of our community with breastfeeding questions, then these are all perks and bonuses that you get when you join us inside. So you can check out the free workshop and learn more details about it, or you can click the link in the show notes to join us inside there. But just know that if you're breastfeeding, there is support for you, and it's okay if you need help. It's okay if you don't know all this stuff. Like, we are not educated on this stuff, right? This is not something that we just learn. I only knew this information because I've been a certified lactation counselor for 10 years, and I, helped hundreds, if not thousands of moms in person and, virtually over the last decade. And so this is not knowledge that moms are given. Like, our OBs aren't giving us this information. Our doctors aren't giving us this information. So don't feel, like a failure or anything if some of this is coming hard, because the truth is breastfeeding is natural, but it is not easy. It is not easy all the time. And I know this because my first pregnancy and postpartum experience was super challenging. My first son was born premature. Like, breastfeeding a premature baby is so hard. They do not have a normal suck swallow pattern. They are really tired and weak. My son had a heart defect, which means he was sleepy all the time. And so, for him, it was rough, and we didn't even learn how to latch until open heart surgery was over. So my first son, we were exclusively pumping for 5 months. He had his open heart surgery around 3 to 4 months old. And then it took another month of practice and learning how to latch. And so finally by 5 months, he was breastfeeding, but it was not a quick journey. It was not an easy journey. It was really, really, really difficult. And then my second son came out of the womb. He literally came out, latched on within 2 minutes. And I mean, I swear he's turning 2 in another month, and I don't know when he'll wean because he is so attached to the boobs. And so, he was like our little bottle refusal baby. And so, each experience is so unique and different. So even if you had a breastfeeding experience that was really easy, that doesn't necessarily mean that your next baby won't have something going on with them medically that makes it more challenging, or vice versa. You may have had a really difficult postpartum experience and breastfeeding experience the first time around. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to struggle again this time. And so just know that like getting support, you deserve to get that help and support you need. So I hope this was helpful for you, and I will see you in the next episode, Mama. Exercise is crucial for our overall mental and physical health, especially during pregnancy and postpartum. Something that has helped me stay really consistent with strength training and yoga at home during nap time is the Expecting and Empowered workout app. I love that I can choose how many weeks pregnant or postpartum I am, and the app tells me exactly what to do. Plus, there's cardio, yoga, and strength training options for new moms and moms to be. You can go ahead and click the link in the show notes to get 7 days free and also save 15% off the annual option when you use promo code Nutrition for Mamas. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to the Postpartum Shift podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could share this episode with a mom friend and leave a written review. This helps the podcast reach and help even more moms. Come say hi over on Instagram at Nutrition for Mamas.